Fucking right. Thank you, musical brother. No. We're done, musical brother. No. OJ, the musical brother. The OJ, the juice is loose. All right, here we go. So we're now on chapter trace, punitive remedies. So we're now on the common law statutes. Exxon Shipping Company versus Baker, a 2008 case from the U.S. Supreme Court. You probably all heard of this. The supertanker, the Exxon Valdez, ran aground in Prince William Sound, spilling millions of gallons of crude oil. Now that happened. Joseph Hazelwood and the ship's captain was relapsed alcohol. Oh, he was a relapsed alcoholic. Well, welcome to the club, brother. Yep. Sorry, I need a highlighter for that. So the ship's captain was a relapsed alcoholic who had dropped out of treatment. So he was a drunk fucker who was drunk again. Yep. There was evidence, too, that his superiors knew this. There was also evidence that before the coming on board the night of the disaster, Hazelwood had drank 5 double vodkas. 5 double... Come on. 5 double vodkas? What is he, a fucking army guy? That's some bullshit. The ship left the normal channel to avoid ice. 2 minutes before reaching the last point for the turning back to the channel, Hazelwood put the ship on autopilot. He left the bridge and he went to his cabin, leaving the instructions for the third mate and the helmsman to make the turn. Both regulations and the universal practice required his presence on the bridge for the turn. Among other things, he was the only officer licensed to navigate Prince William. So they have licenses to navigate. Hey, motherfucker, you can only... What, is that better now? Mod. Better-ish. Not. Mod. Blocking my face? My beautiful face? Or blocking what? No, nobody cares about my face. The more it's blocked, the better it is. Look at this. It's not so beautiful. Better. Mod. Glad it's better. I think Captain Hazelwood had a point. Anyways. Oh, by the way. Yep. Damn right it's better. The ship left the normal channel to avoid ice. 2 minutes before reaching the point to turn back to the channel, Hazelwood put the ship... autopilot, blah, 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 blah. He left the helmsman, yeah. Both regulations and universal practice required his presence on the bridge for this turn. Apparently, if you're going to turn hard, you got to do it yourself. Among other things, he was the only officer licensed to navigate Prince William Sound. The autopilot setting increased the difficulty of the turn. For reasons unknown, the mate and the helmsman missed the... Oh, what they missed? They missed the turn. Motherfuckers missed the turn, and they ran aground. Hazelwood then, after they ran aground, tried to rock the ship off the reef. Had he succeeded, much more oil would have been spilled. Okay, so back to they fucking... Here's a ship. Here's a reef. Oh, there's a reef. Oh, no. This is the ship. We're gonna turn right. He's like, I'm gonna go to my cabin now and hang out. We're good. I'm gonna go away. He's like, fuck, we're stuck. He's like, well, now I'm gonna turn off, and it's gonna like cut the guts out of the fucking oil barge, spill oil everywhere. So that's a bad idea, and so that didn't happen. Anyway, 11 hours after the spill, Hazelwood. Oh. 11 hours after the spill, Hazelwood's blood alcohol level is 0.06. That's below legal limit. What the fuck? Oh, Lord. Exxon disputed the validity of the test, extrapolating that backwards that an expert testified that his blood alcohol level would have been about 0.24 at the time of the spill. Exxon spent $2.1 billion on cleanup efforts and paid $25 million a criminal fine and $100 million in restitution in the criminal case. Criminal restitution is a form of compensation to victims. Exxon paid $1.3 billion in restoration and costs in compensatory damages in civil statements with the United States, with Alaska, and with private plaintiffs who sued in other cases. This case coincided with other cases underneath the general maritime law on behalf of commercial fishermen. Native Alaskans and local owners, Exxon paid about $500 million to the fishermen in compensatory damages for those claims, mostly in partial settlements and some pursuant to judicial and jury verdicts. Instructed to consider reprehensibility of defense conduct for their financial condition, the magnitude of the harm and any mitigating factors, the jury awarded $5 billion in punitive damages against Exxon and $500,000 against Hazelwood. The Ninth Circuit twice vacated and remanded on constitutional grounds. The district judge, through the verdict, was justified and entered as $4 billion on the final remand and $4.5 billion on the second remand. The third appeal, the Ninth Circuit reduced the award to $2.5 billion. That's great. The Supreme Court unanimously rejected Exxon's arguments that the Clean Water Act preempts a claim for punitive damages underneath the general maritime law. It was evenly divided with respect to Exxon's argument that it could not be held vicariously liable on its punitives for Hazelwood's reckless conduct. The result was to affirm on the issue without procedural effort. This is retarded. Exxon was also argued that punitive damages were excessive, even if reduced by the manners of common law courts, subject to congressional authority to the legislature when such time meant the Supreme Court and the statute could review a verdict in the common law terms, because the court all rarely does this. All right, so that's all we have. It's pretty stupid. Yep. So the whole thing is so we have damages, right? That are to a corporation. In order to get to punitive, like we talked about yesterday, in order to get to punitive damage, you first have to have nominal damages or economic damages. And so saying, well, we drove the ship into a reef and it spilled out all the oil, and all the birds were fucked up, and all the seals were fucked up, all the fish were fucked up. So it's all fucked up. And then it's fucked up. And so after that, then they're like, well, I raised seals. So it's fucked. So a bunch of damages come from that. And they're saying, like, whether or not those damages are economic, like, did that hurt your business, or those punitive damage, meaning you have economic damages, we can also make future punitive damage, and we don't know, so it's kind of screwed up. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Happy Monday.